Bienvenue. Les aventures de Frank et Ben. Quatrième série, Frank and Ben go to a pool party at Genevieve's place. Huitième histoire, Frank and Ben go to a pool party, part 8. When the boys are finally ushered out of the solarium by Genevieve and into the full sunlight of the Beaupre mansion's immense backyard, it is not without having witnessed a clash of wills that could only be described as titanic. It was mention of Carlotta Hardbottom that changed the whole course of things and put Cynthia Sharp on the track of something she didn't want to let go of. Immediately she smelt the possibility of a story where the intervention of the radical feminist would take precedence over the one of the boys and be far more interesting than their getting into a scrape with young men of a more or less immature nature. Like a shark that has smelt blood in the water, she quickly zeroed in on this more interesting story and wanted to know everything about the woman who, all by herself, had stood up to 3 drunken, foul-mouthed, and possibly dangerous men. It was then that Frank and Ben had to explain to her what had happened in Cucamonga, the little town in Western Ontario, famous for its mosquitoes. When, after having got off the bus and looking for a way to start a fight with Frank, the 3 young men suddenly found themselves confronted by the odd-looking, but as they quickly found out, formidable feminist. So concerned was Cynthia to get down every detail about this confrontation that she'd only a fraction of what she wanted when Genevieve finally came back to get the boys and introduce them to the other guests. It was at this point they witnessed a side of Genevieve that could only make them admire her more and at the same time even feel a bit in awe of her. Outside in the full sunlight and before the shimmering pool, Frank and Ben take a few minutes to discuss what they have just been through. "Wow," exclaims Ben. "I thought for a while I wasn't going to get away from her." "She's the most persistent, crazed, and stubborn-headed woman I've ever met in my life," says Genevieve, fuming. "Either she's a complete lunatic, or else the most cunning and consummate actress you'll find no matter where you look." "She was actually trying to keep Ben with her by force," says Frank. "You had to pull him away from her." "She'll go to any lengths, but believe me, this takes the cake, to get what she thinks is necessary for a story." "Well, one thing's for sure," says Frank. "She's not going to come back here again." "Oh, Frank," says Genevieve, "you're so wrong. Tomorrow she'll call me up and sound so sweet and pleasant you'd think, if you didn't know her better, she'd forgotten all about our playing tug-of-war with poor Ben here."